My name's Ola Agbamoni. I'm the business bard.
She keeps wanting to be the business bard, but actually, my name's Carol Pike and I'm the business bard. Her name's Ola Agbamoni and she's the business detective.
That's really funny because I actually thought detective and I said bard. I don't know. It's because I'm reading the first thing on the screen and I said my name first. So, yeah, so you can see that I'm a bit... the heat. This is the summer of 2013. It's going to be known as, isn't it? Remember the summer of 76? Yes. This is the heat. It's possibly about 29 degrees and it's late at night and the sun's gone down, but it's really hot and we're just melting here. But we're looking forward to speaking to you because today we're going to talk to you about how to generate leads in an economic downturn using social media. Obviously, you know, we're all here in most Western economies have been experiencing downturn for some years now. And, you know, I often hear people in business say, well, you know, no one's buying, it's really hard to find customers and, you know, what are we going to do to get more customers? I'm really struggling. And so we thought we'd put this workshop together as a taster for the 1230 Business School, which we'll be talking about a bit later as we go on, to help small businesses and really hone their skills so that they can, you know, are better able to deal with the economic circumstances they face. And as we said, you can generate leads in any economy.
Yeah.
You just really need to start from the right place.
And funny you should say starting from the right place. We're really getting you to think about the strategy. You know, it's a bit like building a house. It doesn't matter what it is the house is going to look like, that you have to start off with a plan and really dig deep in terms of the foundation, because after you've got a solid foundation you can build anything it is that you want. And oftentimes, and particularly when we're talking about social media, we're talking about, well, how do I generate 140 characters on Twitter? What am I going to put on Facebook? And actually not stopping to think about, okay, what am I trying to achieve and what is the best way, the best route in order to be able to get there. So when we talk about strategy, we're talking about, yes, we're also then going to be talking about referrals, we're also going to be talking about attraction, and we're going to talk about the all-important hugs.
So we're going to come to those in more detail. I see Carol getting a bit carried away.
I was getting excited about strategy.
So we are going to go on to talk about strategy. But first of all, let's tell you a bit about who we are so that you know who you're listening to. My name, as I said earlier, is Ola Agbamoni, and I am the business detective, aka the business detective. And that's a really nice cartoon of me there as a business detective. And why am I called a business detective? Well, because I have an uncanny way of uncovering business problems and solving them, and, you know, going right straight to the point of solution as Sherlock Holmes. So that's why I'm a business detective. As you can see, I've got a background in regeneration and placemaking. I'm a social media expert. I've got over 17,000 followers on Twitter, which isn't a lot, but, you know, in the scheme of things, I know them all, and I like to say none of them are robots.
Right. Well, I said my name is Carol Pike and I'm the business bard. And as you can tell from when I was talking to you about strategy earlier, I like to tell stories. I'm really about helping people to connect with their brand message and really engage with their audience by taking them on a journey through the power of story. I'm a chartered marketer. I'm a speaker and presenter, and I'm also a coach.
Right, so that's enough about us, and what we're going to do is start, as we said, to help you as business owners see what you can do in today's economic downturn. And let's not talking about a downturn. Today, on any day, what can we do in today's world to help us generate leads? And as Carol was saying, we have to start with a strategy. Now, we were talking about this the other day, and I came up with this great statement, and I think this is going to be one of the things that go down in history as iconic quotes. And working without a strategy is like standing around on the moon, because there's no gravitational pull to keep you grounded or keep you on track. So if you don't have a strategy, how do you know where you're going? You're just going to be floating off into the ether. So one of the things that we say to businesses is, if you are going to use social media, you have to start with that strategy. You have to start with what your aims and objectives are. What are you hoping to achieve? And that might sound quite, you know,
obvious, isn't it? Really? Like,
yeah. But so many people start social media just saying, yo, I need to get some followers. What to what end? Well, you know, people get followers, don't they? Well, what do you want to do with them? Or I have to tweet every day. Well, what are you tweeting about? It's very easy to put your activities in a context, and once they're in a context, it's much easier to find things to talk about, because, you know, gone are the days when you can just be on social media, talking about stuff that's important to you. Your strategy will help you talk about stuff that's important to your audience, because that's the trick.
And that brings up a really important point of actually knowing who it is that your audience is. You know, that whole thing that whatever it is that you're doing may be of benefit to everybody, but actually there is no such customer as everybody. It's made up of a series of somebodies. So you need to have somebody to talk to. And particularly when we're talking about social media, it's all about conversation and engagement. And if you don't know who it is that you're talking to, it's so much harder to have a conversation, to find the right things to say, because you have no idea what kind of floats the boat of the person it is that you're talking to.
Oh, absolutely. And so it's really important to talk about what your strategy is and why you're doing it. In fact, not only who your audience is but where they are. Now, often people say to me, well, you know, which social media platform should I use? And I say to them, well, where's your audience? Because, you know, whilst you can use all of them, if your audience isn't on the platform that you love the most, then yeah, it's great. Maybe you can build an audience there, but it's much easier to talk to the people who are actually interested in what you want than try and build a market for one that doesn't exist. It's not impossible, but it takes an awful lot of resources. And most of the businesses that we're dealing with don't have that kind of resources to create a market or the time to do that. We need to go where our customers are, and we need to provide our customers with what they actually want to buy. So moving on to this whole lead generation, I think, and we've talked a bit about knowing what your strategy is, knowing who your customers are. Part of that includes knowing what they actually want. But one of the best ways to generate leads in any economy, and since we're talking about that as the key focus, is referrals. You know, a customer in the hand is worth two in the bush, to completely butcher a famous parable, because aka new customers are people you're actually chasing. You know, 80% of your future profits will come from 20% of your existing customers.
Yeah, and it costs more money to find a new customer than it actually does to retain an old customer and get them to buy more from you. Yeah, because they've already experienced you.
And on top of that, you know, when we're talking about finding leads, who better to find leads for you than customers who are actually we're assuming that your customers are satisfied. They've bought from you, they experience from you, and you know, if you've given them that wow factor, and we'll talk a bit later about how you can create that wow factor. If you've given them that wow factor, then what actually they're going to do without your prompting is to go and tell other people about you in their own time. But if you can actually encourage that referral, one of the ways you can generate leads using social media is to get your existing customers who will be engaged with you on social media to reward them for finding referrals. You know, you could run competitions on some of the platforms. If you ask people to bring along a friend to like the page, and you can reward them for that. That's a new contact. You know, you can ask your customers how they talk about you to their friends via social media, so you can use it to gather information about who your best customers are and what their characteristics are, so that you can then go out and find more people like that. So the part of it is referrals, part of it is using them as a source of information, and you can do all of those things on the social media platform. They give us the opportunity to talk to people more frequently over a wider area. We can do it more cost effectively. So social media is a great way to use your existing customer base to bring more referrals into your business.
I think that sometimes that you forget that all you actually need to do is ask.
Absolutely.
You know, that really is as simple as that. Asking a happy customer to refer somebody else.
And you know, if we look at some of the bigger brands out there, they're using their customers' feedback, because one of the things in terms of what your existing customers can do is they can provide that social proof that you're actually a brand that solves the problem of those people. So if you go on Amazon, for example, you know, customer review service is a great part of what encourages people to buy. And statistics show us that up to 90% of customers are influenced by the views of other customers before they make a purchase. So another way that you can use social media to get more referrals is to encourage your existing customers to talk about your product and leave feedback, because if people are coming to your are interested in your product, that feedback is going to bring more people to your site, because people like to know that there's some information that they'd like to try before they buy, basically. And social media, and that enables people to try you out in a little way because you've got the views of other people on the websites. So moving on, because we've only got a short time with you this evening to just give you a taste of some of the things we talk about, we want to talk about attraction. Now, social media is a great attraction tool. It's basically a way in which you can lay out your wares online and get people to come to your online real estate, like your website, directly. So, for example, if you are on Twitter, you can stand out in the crowd by giving people really valuable information about how you are the specific solution to your customers' problems. People are only interested in their own problems. They're not really interested in the features and the bells and whistles of your product. You know, they're great, and we're not saying that people don't value them. Those are important. But when people think to buy something, it's an emotional decision, isn't it, Carol?
Yeah, I think that the kind of the benefits of what you do, or the features of what it is that you do, are secondary. It's that whole thing about, okay, I'm waking up, I have this concern or this problem or this need, and I'm actually looking for the solution to that. And so if it is that I see that you're connecting with me at that place, then I'm going to have a different listening for you, and actually then start to find out more about what it is that you do, what product or service that you provide, and how it is that that can work for me. But my first thing is, I always kind of feel that they're tuned into a radio frequency that's WIIFM, and that's what's in it for me. Customers are thinking, what's in it for me? They really don't care about your product or service until they know that it might be of use to them, and then they'll want more details. And I think that sometimes we forget that. You know.
Oh, absolutely. And so the whole idea about social media in terms of attraction, how are you going to attract people to your particular solution? It's by giving them incredible value. And we'll come on to our philosophy around how you can make sure you're giving the people the value that they want in a bit later. But, you know, the biggest and the most powerful the benefit of social media that I see from my experience is a way that you can attract people who are initially strangers that then become visitors, and then you can use that social media engagement to turn those people into leads because they are now interested in you, and you can become more specific about the information you give them, the more engaged they become. So you know, initially you can use your social media to put out articles and solutions to the issues that you know people face in your particular niche, in your particular area of expertise, and you're giving that information for free. You want people to think of you as a solution to the problem, as a person who holds that information, whether you create that information yourself firsthand as primary information, whether you curate it from other sources, because you know, at the end of the day, the British Library is there, but boy would I pay somebody to pick out the books that I need to read and summarise the bits that are useful in terms of a problem I have. And so a lot of time people approach social media thinking that they have to be the only font of all knowledge, and they have to be the creator of all information, but curating information, being out there as a database and the resource finder for your customers is a great way to attract them. You know, if you're the go-to person because you've not only got your knowledge and information, but you've got other authorities, other leads, and you've pulled that together, that is a great service. Most people will, well, everybody wants to buy into that.
Right. But that also demonstrates the fact that you've got your finger on the pulse.
Absolutely.
You know, and when we're talking about attraction and being attractive, it is that whole thing of being vibrant and kind of alive in the moment. That's what it is that we're talking about when we're looking at how it is that we kind of connect and stand out in the crowd.
Absolutely. So yeah, you can use your social media, and different platforms enable you to do this in a whole different set of mediums, because you know, one person may love to read your content, another person may want to be more visual and look at it. They say a picture speaks 1,000 words. Other people might want to engage with it. Other people might want to listen to it, dip in and out of it, read some short articles and or the 140 character micro tweets to engage with you in forums and discussions. All of that is going to create that buzz around your brand, around your solution, that's going to attract more people. And the idea is that, you know, each person tells one. You know, your objective in social media around attraction to get those leads is that each person should tell one. Your content should be so wow that walk on water, that person wants to go and at least tell another one person that wants to share your content with somebody else, and so that person can then be another stranger who's now become a visitor who now you're hoping to turn into a lead. So moving on, we want to talk to you a bit more about this whole idea about how you provide that incredible value, how you make sure that what you're offering as a solution is actually what your customers need, and we call that business hug. So we're going to talk to you a bit more now about our hug, the idea of hug marketing, and how that can help you in your social media generate your leads. So Carol, let me leave you to introduce that, because you are a hugologist.
Hugologist, yes. Hugs. We all have experienced hugs at one point in our lives, but we're talking about something more than the hugs that we've experienced, getting close to somebody else. We're talking about hearing, understanding and giving back incredible value to your customers. We all recognize that a hug means that you need to trust the person that you're hugging, or the person that's being hugged. You need to trust, you need to allow somebody to come close to you. You need to know them. You need to at least like them in order for that hug to take place. And we're recognizing that in this kind of trust and relationship economy, in order for somebody to really buy from you and buy from you more often, and also to become raving fans, that they need to know, like and trust you. And that by adopting the whole hug philosophy, by really kind of recognizing and connecting in a way that perhaps you haven't done before, and looking beyond that sale, beyond that transaction, to really developing a relationship, it actually makes a difference to your bottom line. Because if you hug your customers, and we'll talk more about hearing, understanding and giving back value, if you hug your customers, they will always respond with a hug. And a hug from a customer means that they spend more money with you more often, and they become raving fans, shouting about what it is that you do and what it is that you bring to the table.
So that brings us back to, again, getting more leads.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I like to think about the hug is the thing that fills you in between the no and the buy. Yeah, because between no and buy is like, trust and try.
Yeah.
And that hug is what that's doing. It's giving people the, we often, I was talking to my son the other day, and I was saying to him, you never listen. He said, Mum, I always hear what you say. I said, I know you, but you never listen. There's a big difference from hearing, understanding, that deep listening, where you're actually taking some action based on what the information you're getting back.
Because it's also not just about what they're saying, it's also about what they're not saying.
Absolutely.
And actually really recognizing and hearing what that gap is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you're really listening to your customers, and, again, your social media is a great medium to listen to your customers, to really hear what they're saying, and then interpret that hearing into understanding how that affects your value proposition, what you're giving back, the solution that you're offering. Because at the end of the day, what we're aiming to do in terms of filling in that gap between no and buy, because leads are great, we're asking how we can generate more leads using social media in the economic downturn, but let's face it, a lead that doesn't become a sale is
no lead at all.
No lead. Well, it's a useful lead, but it's without the money shot, as they like to say in some sort of mediums that we're not going to talk about. But anyway, what I was going to say is your hug helps you stand out in a very crowded market, because you can't stand out from the crowd anymore. You have to stand out in it, because people are going to seek you out. That know, like and trust means they will only buy from you. You can try and compete on price, as we often say, but competing on price is a fool's game. There's always going to be somebody out there, bigger and bad, who can undercut you. Generating leads, the kind of leads that are going to turn into sales, are the kind of leads where people really are looking at you in being the solution because of what you've done in terms of that hug. So moving on, because we haven't got much time with you this evening, and this is, as we were saying about the 1230 Business School, this is a real opportunity for businesses to go into more deep depth and detail about some of these concepts, so that they feel really empowered to go out there and come from a position of knowledge and understanding in terms of what they're doing. Obviously you can always pay someone to do this work for you. However, one of the things that we say, if you're going to be in business, you're going to be successful, is that you need to be an intelligent client.
Yeah.
So you need to be an intelligent customer, and this knowledge gives you the option to either do it for yourself or really understand if somebody else is doing it for you, that they're giving you a top quality job. So we just wanted to talk to you about in a bit more detail about this whole model about using social media to drive your sales, to identify your leads. So as we said, social media is really a communication tool. You know, we very much push this idea that it's a tool. It's not an overnight magic bean solution. It's not going to suddenly change the world for you. It's going to be something that you build that is sustainable. You know, that, you know, well, I like to think of social media as planting the tree so that you can eventually pick the fruit, as opposed to going out there and paying for the fruit.
Yeah.
Because when you can pay for the fruit, you know, you can do the advertising, you can do your pay, you can pay for your fruit, but you run out of money, the fruit stops. Whereas if you planted the tree, you know, once that tree's gone into maturity and is growing fruit, you're going to have fruit for as long as you want. And social media is like building that momentum, because what you're doing is building a process where you are taking strangers and turning them into raving fans, through a process of making them the visitors to your website. Those visitors then become the lead because you are engaging with them, as we said, giving them that invaluable content that really meets their needs, really solves their problems and wows them so that they're sharing it. You're building that audience, as we like to say, a hive of people who are out there really listening to everything you say, because it's about them and not about you. So when you do, and we're not saying you don't have your specific calls to action, we don't say that you know that you never talk about the sell. Obviously you do talk about the sell, but when you talk about the sell, people are ready to hear that with a different listening, because you have provided them with the value, that you have hugged them, you've heard, understood, and given them back incredible value.
I always think that it's not so much about selling, but about creating opportunities for people to buy.
Absolutely.
So by utilising the kind of the hug and utilising social media, that actually what you're really doing is it's I guess back to the tree analogy, you're preparing the soil.
Absolutely.
You know, to actually saying that this is what it is, that, you know, this is useful tools and information to help you to do what it is that you want to do better. But actually, if you need a little bit more help, you can come to us and we can help you. But recognizing that you are the solution, and if you are the solution, then you need to find ways to engage and connect with your audience so that you can help them on their journey, because that's what it is that they're looking for, and they will pay you handsomely for doing that. But they need to know that you care about them enough in order for them to start listening to you.
Oh, absolutely. And before we leave this slide, I really just want to talk about the last bar, the bar that says thrill. Because as you said, the whole thing about social media, the sustainability of growing those leads, is that you can reiterate it. If you've got the person from stranger to customer using the hug ideology, using that, you're hugging them, you're giving them back incredible value. You don't stop there. You continue to thrill them, you continue to meet their needs, you continue to give them back incredible customer service, and then they become your brand advocates. They become the fans. They become the lead generators, the referral creators, so that you're stoking up that engine all the way along. To get more leads. So, you know, in a tough economy, how do you do it? You create great relationships. Yeah,
because I mean, some of the bigger brands like Apple, for example, is that things like going into their stores, that you feel the thrill, you feel the excitement, and even if it is that you're only on an aspirational level, actually you talk about it. You know, you take pictures of it, you talk about the experience it is that you've had, the fact that you've stroked the Mac or whatever it is that you've done there, and that you're really excited by that, and you share that with other people. And that's what it is that we need to be looking at, is that it doesn't just stop at the sale. You're really looking at how it is that you can keep that cycle going and keeping people engaged with you and with your brand, so that they become fans, and even if they're not buying from you right now, they will share with other people who will come to buy from you.
Absolutely. So you're just keeping that whole momentum going. Okay, so just before we go, we just wanted to talk a bit more about the one more thing. So there's always one more thing. So hopefully we've given you enough idea around things that you can do in terms of the overall strategy. Using your social media to get more leads in today's economic climate. But the one more thing is, as we said, it says on the screen, an entrepreneur's secret weapon is to stay ahead of the game by keeping your knowledge and your skills up to date. Things change so rapidly. You know, we've moved in the space of, 2 years into this really idea of a relationship economy, a trust economy. We know the old ways of marketing, even if, you know, people felt they had a bit of a lifeline, you know, it's really clear that broadcasting alone is not the way. No. So you need to keep your skills up to date, and one of the things that we say is it's about continuous learning. You know, if you're in business, know that your learning journey is an ongoing process.
It's almost just begun, actually.
It's just begun, and the more that you can learn, the more. And let's just separate. This is not about you doing every role in your business yourself, because clearly you can pay other people to do this. But knowledge is freedom. Yeah. You know, and knowing the particular skills that you as an entrepreneur need to really manage the strategy of your business, so you work in it as well as on it. Yeah, is what the Top 30 Business School is about. And the learning.
22:30.
I can hear my clock, my computer. That's my computer announcing the time. Eh? See what time we're doing this webinar. So just quickly to say, because I think it's dinner time. So we talk about business processes. The skills around that.
So these are really the sections or the headings under which the 1230 Business School will be running their courses.
Absolutely. So there's courses that would form what we call business processes, like your finance and managing contracts, those kind of training that really are the processes of your business. Sales and marketing, you know, from digital marketing to traditional pay-per-click SEO. Not to say we're training you to be experts, but it really does help to have an overall understanding of some of these things, so that you, as we said a bit earlier on, can become an intelligent client. There are many modern business skills that you now need to embrace in order, if you're going to stay ahead of the game. To give us an example of a modern business school there, Carol, yeah.
Right, just even things from just kind of managing systems, you know, just kind of really kind of understanding that actually about kind of system, being system orientated, whether or not you have kind of virtual assistants, because so many people are lone operators, they're operating on their own, but really looking at how it is that you can engage with other people to make your business successful.
Well, absolutely, and they also include things like, you know, video, you know, how to not to make the videos necessarily, but how to appear in front of a video camera. You know, once upon a time the entrepreneur was hidden, and now people want to see you. They're going to know, like, and trust you. You know, it's not uncommon to see you as the entrepreneur fronting a video, talking about your products, engaging with the media.
And that's often quite scary, actually.
It can be, you know, maybe engaging with the media. You know, the press are more and more interested in business in general, and you as an entrepreneur have a really big opportunity to get the mainstream media interested in your products and service if it's newsworthy. But again, you know, those are skills that a modern business are more likely to need than they would have done 30 years ago. And finally, we talk about mindset and personal management. The biggest asset in any business ever is the entrepreneur that's heading it up. If you are not in the right place, you know, psychologically, if there's issues around belief, around your mindset, that's going to have an impact on your business. Nobody who ever built a multi-million-pound business started off thinking, I'm never going to do it. Yeah, that was not the mindset of the Bill Gates, of the Richard Bransons, of the Oprah Winfreys. They didn't start off thinking, I ain't going to do it. They started off thinking, you know, it's all achievable. That's not to say that they didn't have their dark moments, but, you know, So getting that mindset right. So 1230 Business School offer a range of courses that fall into these categories at a range of times in central London location that's suitable for people in the south, but also because London's connectable, you can fly in from the States to do a course, and it's just really worth it. But also we there are other delivery mechanisms as well. We do the 1230 Business Schools as online training as well. Here we're just going to leave you with a screenshot of some of the advantages of working with the 1230 Business School. It's not a new organisation. It's the sister arm of the 1230 Women's Club, which is a fantastic networking organisation for women. But the business school is it trains everybody. It's not just focused on women. Jackie Groundsell, the entrepreneur who runs 1230 Women's Business School and the 1230 Women's Club, is the connector, the entrepreneur extraordinaire. So that what you're going to get is a quality product because she's been delivering quality for years, and she only hires the best. Hence why we're here. So we hope you've enjoyed our webinar, and we've given you some pointers around what you can do to generate leads in today's economy. That is whetted your appetite to continue that professional development as an entrepreneur and continue your learning to get skilled up. So if you'd like to know more about what's on offer from the 1230 Business School, take a look at the website, which is www.1230businessschool.co.uk. Would be great to see you at some of the training in the future. If you've got any questions, there are contact details on the website. So it's just left for me and Carol to say good night.
Good night.
If you're listening to this and it's July and you're sweltering in the fantastic English summer, just enjoy.